Welcome back, everyone, to Pathologic. I am going around town. Speaking to all of the bound. To see... Well, number one, to see if any of them are dead. Dead or sick. And maybe I can find Clara and the Haruspecs and give them a seat at the table. Also, I want to talk to them all. It seems like everybody has unique dialogue. But yeah, what Mark was talking about was pretty weird. It's like, oh, only from behind the stage am I able to assist. So perhaps he could report on Fate's machinations in order to thwart them. Oh, I can sleep in Yulia's bed. Noted.
My path was called tripwires.
Okay, so it seems like all of Clara's bound are going to say the same things. Maybe all of Artemi's bound will say the same things too. But it appears I should speak to the Utopians. Apparently they will reveal more about why it is they are Utopians. And I would appreciate that. To understand the nature of the faction that I've been working with. I know I've picked up quite a bit along the way, but it would be nice to hear them speak of it plainly. For a little while, at least.
What?
There is no death. So Alexander and Katharina seem to be willing to just fucking die. Which makes sense in a way. If Clara has indeed usurped her power, then the Saburov house no longer has any meaning. And they were in decline to begin with. Like, when I got here, Olgimsky did say that they were in decline. Yo, Peter! Spill the twirine!
If we're in the majority, the fragile polyhedron will be left untouched. We'll manage to sustain life in it. Maria can do miracles.
What are you going to do with your life? Tell me. Here's what's going to happen. The part of the town on this bank of the river will be deserted. The people who will have found shelter in the specular cocoon will become its new inhabitants. What are you going to build? My brother and I will build the whole town. The cold hall will look like a mud pie in a sandbox compared to it. I've designed it in my mind already. Tell me. I told you already the idea to construct a building with variable density. Or was that someone else? But there's also a nut house. There's a house that erupts from itself, an inside-out house, so to speak, but without the inside part, an encircled suburb that is at war with the center, a bridge suburb, and of course a growing house that changes every week. How could you possibly invent all that? Are you really going to build these things? That was an effulgent epiphany. A true eureka moment. My brother and I have planned the space already. We've laid roads, placed suburbs and districts, and when we saw the whole thing and realized how much energy was hiding in it, we exchanged glances. It will rival the cities of the greatest ancient civilizations. That town of yours will exist only on paper. Like with the polyhedron, it will turn into a full-sized model of itself, made of its own designs. So I've made the right choice after all. You alone are worth bringing a gang of criminals and scoundrels into power.
You're close.
Okay. And then I can instruct him, like, keep hold of Andre. Stop him from killing anyone else. It's interesting to see that, like, all of his bluster and bravado wasn't fake. Dude's a straight up fucking killer, man. Okay, so it looks like Mr. Saburov is not sick. Let's head over to Sticky's residence. And I can talk first to the kids. Well, I mean, the only kid I really need to talk to. And then I can be like, what are you doing, Sticky? Okay, one house down. You know, I never did figure out what that albino creature was. All I know is that being around it killed me. Sticky, what up?
My path was called the last vampire. I would have surely caught the weird albino if it not for the plague.
If you didn't take care of me, who would breathe life into our town again? I'll have so many things to do in 5 or 10 years. Thank you, thank you. You think this town is still able to take a new lease on life? Definitely. It won't be easy, of course, but life has to be fought for, otherwise it's not real. Do not tear off the umbilical cord that's been feeding all of us since the beginning of time. These things are already going extinct almost everywhere. Is it really worth the effort to do your best for the sake of such a wretched place? And what about my friends? I won't be able to do anything without them. Are they alive? Is it possible to visit them already? I don't know. I wanted to take care only of you. Not yet. I'm not done yet. I think he's saying that another child has fallen ill, which is fine. I've got cures for everyone. Fucking Oprah style. You get a cure, and you get a cure. Everybody gets a cure. Hopefully. I've got 1 Schmouter and 2 Panaceas. I can only hope that's enough. Why am I still checking in the trash cans? Motherfucker. Do you want me to just not check in the trash cans? That would be crazy. I am going... No, it's not exactly the wrong way. I can take a detour to the Bone Steak Yard. That's interesting. There's a bunch of dead odongs, a bunch of dead worms. Huh. That's curious. Okay, good. For a hot second, I was just thinking like, oh, what if Anna's sick again? What if?
I could have been a famous singer.
Okay, and so as one of Clara's bound, she's also like, yep, ready to die. Huh, I've almost spoken to all of my bound. The rest are going to be up by the crucible. Don't look at me like that, man. Andre?
If we're in the majority, the fragile polyhedron will be left untouched. We'll manage to sustain life in it. Maria can do miracles.
You saved my life, old chap. Lovely. Soon you'll see that I won't let you down. Your gift is greatly appreciated and is going to be put to good use. What are you going to do with your life? Tell me. I finally realized what my part is. You know, I'm good at breaking through to where no one is supposed to. I'm also really good at breaking rules. Challenging, contradicting, but I have no idea how to build something. You're not alone, Andre. Exactly. There is no Andre. Only the brothers Stamatin, twins. We're worthless without one another, and together we're worth more than any of the old school masters, for Peter's fantasies have no limits. He's too naive for that, and I have the genuine freedom of action. You don't conform to anything. And this is exactly why I'll be able to implement anything invented by Peter and blessed by Maria's love. Neither deep nor depth nor law itself will stop me. All in all, I'm staying. I love this future pyre. It makes me feel like a demiurge. I envy you, Andre. So the kids are Sticky, Grace, Notkin, Murky. Oh, and Khan. Oh, and Capella. Okay. I'd say Capella can't be sick, but I don't know, man. I'm not taking any chances. I'm checking on all the bound. It would cheese my onions to go on down to the cathedral and show up, and they're like, "Oh no, we can't do the Haruspex' idea. One of his bound is sick." I would fucking flip my shit. I just want to know what's in there, man. When it comes to that, like, copy of the Broken Heart, I am fucking Eric Andre levels of let me in! I think Aspity counts as, a member of Clara's bound. She's a bad mother, shut your mouth. Okay, so I gotta get into this. My roommate was telling me that one of her coworkers was insisting that water had a memory. And like this coworker insisted that you could dip an aspirin into like a glass of water, and you don't let it dissolve, you just dip it in and then you take it out. And then if you drank the water, it would remember what aspirin was and like become aspirin or take on the attributes of aspirin. And I'm just over here thinking like that's fucking impossible. There's one for you, Worm. And then like even if I was willing to entertain that notion, even if I was willing to entertain the idea that water does have... So let's start at the beginning. Let's assume that water has a will. And that its movements and like the precipitation cycle isn't based on gravity or the innate properties of the material. It's just, it's the will of water itself. Let's assume that. It appears you are not sick.
I see everything.
Okay. So let us assume at the beginning that water has a will. Now let's assume that water has an intelligence. Like, water has a desire. Water is, in a way, sentient. It can't move. Maybe it can't, but maybe it can think. So, we've gone this far. And let us even assume that water has a fondness for human beings. I mean, humans are mostly water. So, like, in one way, it might be sensible that water has a fondness for the life on planet Earth, because we're made up of water. Water, I wanted to say looks at us, but water doesn't have any eyes. Water experiences us and says, "Oh, I remember that." So let's even go as far to say that water has a will, an intelligence, a fondness, and indeed has a memory. So it can remember people maybe it can even remember what it used to be a part of. Let us even assume that when encountering aspirin, it can recognize and remember what it is. None of this means that the water would be able to, based on its memory of aspirin, make itself aspirin or take on the qualities of aspirin. This... You don't understand. I've been grappling with this idea all day. I can't get over this, man. And so Aspide's gonna be like, I'm ready to die.
If there's enough people like...
Okay. Checking on everybody. Leave no one behind. Leave nothing to chance. After all, it is 4 in the morning. I would feel rude going to the cathedral at 4 in the morning, you know, just being like, hey guys, what is up? With 3 bottles of Twirine and I fucking drink them all. What is up, my dudes? Utopians all the way. Blow up the town. Okay, Grace is fine.
I think they've fallen out of love with me.
Huh. Okay, I can follow the tracks here, and then I can go talk to Notkin Soul and a Halves and Bad Grief. And then I can swing by Murky's place, talk to Vlad. I already talked to Mark, Anna, Andre, Yulia, and then I can go to Ava's place just to check it out. Talk to the Canes. Oh yes, and then inspect the polyhedron once more. I know I checked it yesterday and Khan was fine, but like I'm not leaving anything to chance. I told you. But now that I think about it, this does make more sense as to why Bad Grief was talking about leaving a will. If he does truly intend to give his life today for whatever it is that Clara has planned for all of her bound, then that would explain why he's like, shit, I'd never thought about writing a will. I gotta figure out how to do that. Which would be interesting. If only because, like, I never suspected him of being the sort of person to be sentimental. Then again, Grief wasn't a total piece of shit. Like, it's clear he was the smuggler here, and he was the one bringing in black market goods. But he never seemed the type... Like, he wasn't a bad dude. Like, when what's-his-face, Barry the Barber, or whatever the fuck his name was. When Barry the Barber showed up and was like, yeah, man, I'm gonna fucking start stabbing people and taking all their shit, Grief was furious. He's like, no, man, we don't do that. We don't do that shit, okay? And the Barber was like, how about I do anyway? Oh, I guess maybe I should visit Ruben. Yo, Ruben! Ruben!
It'll take them a long time to find me here.
Oh, Ruben is one of Clara's bound. That explains, like, how he's considered to be, like, a bad boy. That does make sense, considering what he's done. Grief.
If there's enough people like me, the town will stay the same. We'll surrender ourselves to Clara, unrepentant. A rotten life belongs to the new mistress.